I am back. A very warm welcome to all my wonderful listeners and viewers on Bin Bag Banta with Bansi Bhatt. Today we are on episode number 13, where we shall be talking about how the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the hospitality industry. And I do have a very special guest with me on Bin Bag Banta today, who has been kind enough to share his views, his thoughts on this topic. And yes, you guys are in for a treat with this interview. But before we get there, my episode number 12 of Bin Bag Banta was all about mothers' unconditional love for their children. Now, this topic was rather a touchy one, at least for myself. I did share some of my childhood memories with you all, and I would like to say a big thank you to all those of you who did get in touch with me for your kind words and your kind contributions on my topics of discussion. You all are the best. And if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, I wonder what you're waiting for. I really wonder what are you waiting for. I need you to go and subscribe to my channel right away. It's Bin Bag Banta. That is the only way you will be able to keep up to date with all the latest that I have in store for you, only on Bin Bag Banta with Bansi Bhatt. Well, we have so much to talk about the COVID-19 pandemic and how it has turned our lives upside down, be it positively or negatively. It really depends on how you look at it, right? As I did mention earlier, that there are some industries that were hit hard overnight due to this pandemic. And correct me if I'm wrong to say that the hospitality and the tourism industries were most definitely the major ones. Strategies to flatten the COVID-19 curve, such as community lockdowns, social distancing, stay-at-home orders, travel and mobility restrictions have resulted in temporary closure of many hospitality businesses and significantly decreased the demand for businesses that were allowed to continue to operate. Overnight borders were closed. All flights were suspended, local and international both. Hotels, restaurants, all had to shut down overnight. Hospitality businesses were expected to make substantial changes to their operations in the COVID-19 business environment in order to ensure employees and customers' health and safety. Today on Bin Bag Banta, I would like to touch on some of the key elements that were gathered in the hospitality industry during the pandemic. Well, of course, it's not rocket science to understand that hospitality and food service businesses are the most common casualties when there is a global outbreak. One of the most important elements to look into is most definitely open communication. As much as it is tough for everyone, it is only right to keep your employees, your clients, your suppliers in the loop as to what your next step is going to be. Open communication will always give a sense of assurance to your team that we are in this together and we shall overcome this together. Another very important element to consider is cooperation, teamwork. Well, during this period, companies not only in the hospitality industry but also in other industries should cooperate and work together as a team as opposed to seeing each other as competition. It's all about I help you, you help me. That should be the motto. This is where teamwork and brainstorming will help with innovation and new ideas of survival. In the hospitality industry and any service industries for that matter, maintenance of service levels is of utmost importance. Wherever cost cutting is required, do so in areas where hotels, do so in areas of the hotel that have the least impact on customer service and hotel image. Compromising on standards of service can be dangerous. Perhaps you can introduce unique discounted packages, that could be exclusive for your hotel only to attract customers. If customer satisfaction and service quality are negatively affected, it will be more difficult to both maintain your current guests and attract new guests after the recession is over. And, of course, not forgetting following the correct protocols and precautions that are set by the government is very important. Well, we all have a responsibility to do our best, stay safe, and follow the recommended measures. From social distancing to maintaining hygiene levels, companies should work towards ensuring that they are at the forefront in the fight against this pandemic. That is very, very essential. Well, then, today on Bin Bag Banter, we have a very special guest with us, who I would say is the king of the hospitality industry in this part of the world. It gives me great pleasure to welcome our very own, the owner, the founder, and the group managing director of Pride Group, Mr. Hasnain Noorani himself. Hasnain, thank you so very much for taking some time out and just being with us and sharing some thoughts from your point of view on Being Back Banter in regards to the pandemic and how it has affected the hospitality industry.
Mansi, thank you very much for the honor of hosting me at at the prestigious Bean Banter. Asana Sana.
Well then, Hasnain, before we begin, it would be nice if you could just briefly explain to us or just tell us, take us through how did you actually get into this industry? I mean, you've diversified into fuels, you've diversified into cakes, fuels, cakes. I don't know, it's like, it's a huge like mix up, but I don't know, what made you, just tell us more about your journey that brought you here.
Mansi, that's an interesting question. Thank you very much. A lot of my businesses have come about because of opportunities that I believed were there. I've been one of those people who have grabbed onto opportunities as and when available. And opportunities are created because I could have found them. I could have found that as a need in my life or within my family life. Maybe I see that there's an area where I'm not happy with how another company is providing a service, or maybe there's no company at all that does a similar service. And that's how my opportunities are grabbed. Example being as Pride in 2010, I was returning with my friends back from one of the cities, and we were going back to Nairobi. And that's when I asked myself that Nairobi had the total upper 5 stars and the lower end hotels for an upcoming businessman like myself. If I wanted to stay in Westlands, where would I stay? At that time, Westlands had very limited hotels in 2010. And that's where the whole idea of $100 hotel came in. And that's how we opened our first hotel of 28 rooms. Obviously, I did not have any hospitality experience. By education, I have a master's in manufacturing, engineering, and management. So it was one of those things that whilst I was just trying to look at opportunities within the manufacturing, I stumbled upon this opportunity of that there was no mid-tier hotel, more like $100 hotel, because I wanted a $100 hotel. And that's how I got into the hospitality business with our first hotel as $100. When I looked at the hospitality industry at that time, I realized for an upcoming businessman like myself, I wanted to have a good night's sleep. When I get up in the morning, I'd relax shower. Once I've had my shower, once I changed, I wanted to have a hot breakfast, business and Wi-Fi, maximum security, and food variety. And that's exactly what we focused within our first hotel. And we marketed, and we opened in 2011. And we marketed as a $100 hotel. And by the grace of Almighty, with the hardworking team and support from our guests and clients, we have grown from one hotel of 28 rooms to 8 hotels with over 1,000 rooms and conference capacities of over 5,000. And likewise, even Cake City was one of those things. In the month of November, I have a lot of birthdays within my family. And one of those days we were just sitting and we were just sitting and having a chat with my wife. And she tells me, you know what, the cake options in Nairobi are so limited. I wish we could have somewhere we could buy more cakes or I could choose a variety. And suddenly it struck on me that, you know what, we live in a century where why should I go and pick a cake from the bakers? Why do I have to order a cake 24 hours prior? And that's how the whole idea of Cake City was born. And I decided, you know
Wow.
what, let me just open up a Cake City shop.
Uh-huh.
Well, you can say so for my wife, because she wanted to have more cakes. And I'm hoping she's hearing that. She wanted to have bigger varieties of cakes. And that's how the first Cake City was born. Today we boast with over 100 varieties of cakes. We deliver free of charge to homes, and that's exactly the kind of
Wow.
service. I wanted to pick up a phone call. I
Uh-huh.
wanted to pick up a phone and just call to say that I want this kind of cake. This is the message, please deliver it home. And that's
Right.
exactly what we do. And that is one of the companies that has grown from one branch to now 8 branches over a
Wow.
short period of time. We do huge
Uh-huh.
numbers of cakes on a daily basis for celebrations, birthdays.
Right.
So yes, that's exactly where my businesses come about. It is now one of those things that I plan. It is as in when I stumble upon an opportunity, I can't, whenever I see an opportunity, I can't hold myself from grabbing onto that opportunity and trying it out. Saying that, obviously, I've had my fair share of some of the business failures also when I thought that maybe there was an opportunity, but
Right.
it was maybe because only I thought it was an opportunity, but no one else
Right.
thought it was a need. So that's how it
Right.
is. That's how I go
So
about my
you learn
businesses.
from you. It's all about experience. You learn from experience.
Well, Bansi, the one thing that I always know that I always know is you either win in life or you either learn. You never lose. That's one thing that I always believe in. So it's either you win or you learn. All right, you never lose. So whenever I make some bad decisions in business, or maybe I've not thought about a decision and I happen to lose money in
Mhm.
business, I just pat myself at the back and tell myself, son, it's okay, you paid your school fees.
That's a good thought. That's a beautiful thought, Hasnain. Let me ask you, Hasnain, what are some of the measures you took with your team to be able to sustain and survive when all the borders were closed, both local and international tourism was haywire? How did you guys, I mean, being in the hospitality industry, I'm sure you cannot just close down completely. You have to look after your hotels and your properties in a certain way, especially in the coast. What are some of the measures that you took just for survival purposes?
Well, I must mention, Bansi, that I always thank Almighty God, and I'm always very thankful that I have a very excellent and understanding team. The moment this thing happened, obviously we did sit down as a team, because that's at that point in time you realize it's not a one-man decision; it's a whole team that needs to bring in their heads together. We sat down with both our senior level team, our junior level teams, and we had a lot of discussions in terms of what is the best way that we wanted to handle this. And our group has significantly grown because of the team. So we sat down immediately with the team, and we had some discussions. People realized that we need to make sure that we sustain everyone. No one is left out, because once lives are lost, they can never be returned. But if business and money is lost, that will always be recovered at the later point. And that is exactly the thought process with which we work our way forward. So immediately, in the hospitality business, sometimes things get busy, so people don't actually get the leaves. So first and foremost, we ask people to complete their leaves that they had pending, with only few people that were left at the hotels, because we had to ensure cleanliness, and cleanliness maintenance was being carried out. And people agreed, obviously, because everyone knew, the entire team knew that things were tough. And because we have a culture where we care for each other, we are a big family, no one wanted to lose anyone.
Right.
So what we did is everyone agreed to take some element of pay cuts, so that everyone could be sustained and no one needed to be fired. What we realized is that if people were eating, example, if people are getting a particular salary, they could compromise on the salary, and at least everyone has something at the house, and no one is kicked out of the houses. So yes, I think I know I have a fantastic team, and I always appreciate for whatever it is, for whatever they do for the company. Over and above that, we had some quick negotiations with our bankers, suppliers, and all of the partners, and we try and maintain good relationships with all of them. And we were very lucky to have people who are very understanding. They sat down with us and they compromised with us. And we came up with some creative and flexible payment plans of things, which really helped us through. We also had discussions with our clients. Now, I would also appreciate that, we have some fantastic clients who also understood the challenges we were going through. And a lot of them agreed to pay us also in advance also. And when I say in advance, I mean, there were some outstanding payments that were maybe due, but they agreed to maybe to sort out some payments, so that could keep us afloat and sustain us. So what I realized is that over this pandemic period, communication is everything. How you communicate and how you maintain relationships with people. At the end of the day, it is the relationships that will always sustain you, that will always pull you through with from whatever it is. So before we talk to our clients, we talk to our bankers, suppliers, partners, our employees, our staffs, and that is exactly the channel we went down with. During the pandemic time, we also sat down to understand our business better, because generally a hospitality business is always a 24-hour business. It's 24 hours, 365 days a year. So we never actually get the time to sit down and to brainstorm. And that's the time we actually sat down to understand our business better, to understand where we are going wrong, what we are doing right. And we re-engineered our processes, we redesigned our processes, we redefined our processes to ensure that once we open, because we knew that we will open at one point in time, within a couple of months or whatever it is. So we wanted to be ready for our clients, and we chose to also upgrade our properties. We chose to upgrade our properties, redo our properties, do thorough spring cleaning, do everything that needs to be done to keep our properties ready, so that once we open business, we are ready for our clients. So that's exactly what took us through for the entire when both local and international tourism was closed for a while.
Right. Okay. And I understand and I totally agree with you that if you take your staff as family, they will work even harder. They will work even more,
Yes,
they'll be more loyal. So I can totally understand that. Hasnain, coming from the hospitality industry, generally, what are some of the major challenges that you face in this part of the world, with or without the pandemic? And what could be the way forward in case if you do have challenges?
Nancy, the thing is, first I want to take this opportunity to appreciate His Excellency President Kenyatta and Honorable Balala. They have, over the past couple of years, there's been a fantastic focus on tourism and hospitality in general. And it is because of that we see that regional tourism, international tourism has been on an incline. But at the same time, there's areas that I still believe that in everything that we do, there's always room for improvement. And there's areas that I believe that that can still be worked on. Just to make you understand, Pansy, tourism and agriculture are the two industries that bring about more of a growth in a country, or growth in a country and in its people. But tourism has to be taken very differently, and I want you and obviously the audience to also understand that with tourism, and tourism increases when hotels are full. Okay, when hotels are full, hotels, we bring in a pull demand. When I say so, a pull demand, think about it. When every example, we have 30 hotels in Mombasa, for instance. If every hotel is operating at 90% occupancies, you can imagine that bars are going to be full, clubs are going to be full, taxis, restaurants are going to be full, and hotels, we purchase everything and anything. So you talk about oils, rice, ration, dry goods, whether you talk about linen, furniture, meats, beverages, hardware, soaps, pool chemicals, fuels, oil, gas. Now imagine if every single hotel is fully booked, all right? Imagine the kind of demand, the pull demand we are going to have to all these industries. So if all these industries have huge demand, means that they cannot cater for the international exports, automatically meaning that they'll have to expand to cater for the international exports. So you can see that the way we create those demand strategies, which actually grow everyone. And then for hotels, we are very much people based. We are not machine based. We are not robot based. We are very much people based. And therefore, the amount of employment we create, that is directly and indirectly. All right. Even now, once we are busy, every industry is busy. Every industry is busy means they have a huge demand. Therefore, there's more employment. So you can see that the amount of money that can be circulated within the industry just by tourism being given a special consideration. True. Now, to enable that, if once that happens, the day we are able to achieve a 90% occupancy throughout the year for tourism, I can promise you the growth and the development of the country is going to be huge, because everyone has work. When everyone has work, everyone is benefiting out of it. Exactly. Directly. It's a ripple effect. It's a ripple effect that we cause within the entire economy. And just like the way when we opened Pride in Paradise, we were the first one to have an international convention center of 2,500 people. Ever since we have opened up, we have pulled in a lot of conferences happening in Mombasa. Now, this alone, when we have a conference of 2,500 people or 2,000 people, that was pre-COVID, we would see that we would only host maybe 100, 200, 300 people. The rest of the people would all be hosted on the nearby hotels. Means that if you look at it, everyone benefits out of it. So there has to be a bigger focus on open sky policies. I believe Mombasa International Airport, Malindi International Airport needs to be allowed to have international flights coming in. So that way we can bring in tourism. We need to, I would urge and request the government that we need to focus more on those regional tourism like Nigeria, Uganda, Rwanda, Ethiopia. If we can have more direct connecting flights into Mombasa, because these are all landlocked countries. And if we can have direct, affordable flights into Mombasa, you can imagine the number of weddings from Ethiopia we would have, the number of just beach tourism that we would have, and how that would grow the entire coast region. We were also looking at, how infrastructure and accessibility to a destination is very important. Making sure that we have the right quality of infrastructure within any particular county or region. If you look at Mombasa, I would urge the government to be able to look at this Changamwe interchange. That has taken quite a long time to finish, and it's really an inconvenience for people to come into Mombasa. At the moment, it's a nightmare. With the traffic that it creates. If we could urge and request the government that, are we able to try and see how we can fasten that interchange so that the accessibility and the ease of coming into Mombasa would be a lot more better, which means that we can grow tourism, very quickly. I'm sure you have had your challenges when going to Nairobi or when coming back from Nairobi.
There's no road, it's just space.
yes, there's no road. And especially when one truck breaks down, oh my, that's a nightmare after that. So, even this Nairobi Expressway that is being created by the government in Nairobi, that's going to ease up airport accessibility. That's a fantastic investment, and I want to congratulate His Excellency. That's a brilliant thing that's going to happen to Nairobi, and that's really going to boost tourism in the country in general. So we're looking at also, MICE tourism. Now, to say MICE tourism, I don't mean the MICE, but meetings, incentives, conferences, and exhibitions. If you look at Dubai, Dubai, London, these countries survive and thrive on MICE tourism. Today, when there's one exhibition, if there's one exhibition could easily bring in like 100,000 people, or maybe 50 to 100,000 people. I can imagine if 50,000 people came into Mombasa, what would happen to Mombasa?
Exactly.
That would really boom Mombasa or at the Kenya coast in general. So we need to put in a little bit of focus on the MICE tourism, and I'm glad that there has been a MICE bureau that has been already been put into place, the Kenya National Convention Bureau, that has been initiated by Honorable Balala, which is something that I believe post-COVID would really be of big assistance in increasing tourism. So in general, whilst we also appreciate the Kenya Tourism Board for the fantastic work that they do in marketing Kenya, they've come up with innovative measures. But again, there'll be no harm in getting more budget and more finance towards the marketing Kenya. The more we can talk about Kenya, the better it is. The more tourism there is, the better it is. So as much as there are challenges, and some of the biggest challenges that are also there is the cost of operating hotels, like the cost of power at the moment. If you look at the cost of power, cost of water, the consistency of power, the consistency of getting good quality water in the hotels. So we spend quite a bit of money into doing that. Now, if the government could be able to come in and subsidize those ones, automatically what happens is we are able to subsidize our rates to domestic tourism, which means that now you can imagine domestic tourism plus regional tourism plus international tourism, the MICE tourism, if everything comes in together, look at the ripple effect it's going to create to the entire industry, to all those industries that I mentioned, and the kind of employment that it will create. So yes, those are the areas that I believe that we need to look at.
That's some far-fetched thoughts, Hasnain. Like, it's very impressive. You people, like somebody like me, I want to go to a hotel and that's about it. I just want to have a good time. But we don't realize the amount of work, the amount of things that are, the back office has to take up for us to have a good time at any hotel for that matter. So yeah, yes. I think it's an eye-opener for sure.
A lot of people assume, in a hotel, it's all about just selling a room that has a bed. Exactly. But there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes. It's just like when you're watching movies, you just go and enjoy the movie, but you don't know the work that is going behind the scenes.
And it's easy for you to say it's a good movie or a bad movie. That's it.
Yes, that's right.
Wow, I think I'm learning a lot. I'm learning a lot through this as well, through this interview.
I'm glad to hear that, Vansi.
Hasnain, I've been very keenly following you on social media. And it shows that how frustrated the people from the hospitality industry were at one point, after having sent several requests to the respective authorities regarding the sudden movement of restrictions put in place just when we were all set to have a good Easter break. What have you got to say on this? Where did you feel like maybe we were lacking, or just generally, what was your thought process when these restrictions just came about? So it was just literally like 4 to 5 days before Easter when everybody was set for it.
But see, we must, by all means, that during the Easter break, when the sudden travel cessations came in, it obviously hindered on that. It brought about lots of cancellations. During Easter, we were nearly at 90%, and everything got cancelled. But we also must understand where the president and the kind of decision making that His Excellency Uhuru Kenyatta has to do when it comes to such matters. We appreciate the fact that the measures that His Excellency and the entire government and his team have taken in making sure that this country is safe. Today, we are able to go on with our normal lives because of the decisions, of the good decisions that they made from the beginning till today. And whilst we understand where they have a lot of focus on the well-being of their citizens, all right, their priority is the well-being of the citizens. I still believe that, like I said initially, the way I've explained to you, tourism, the ripple effect it causes. A bird's eye view can be taken, but a bird's eye view plus tourism view should be taken in together in jointly, for any future decisions, because such rapid or immediate travel cessations really harm the tourism industry. So my question at that time was that, okay, our international borders are open and we are allowing people coming in from internationally. So why wouldn't we allow the local borders to continue operating, as long as, because we were allowing people coming into the country with the negative PCR certificate. So if you're allowing people coming in with the country with a negative PCR certificate, there should be no reason as to why they should be restricted from moving around the country with the same negative PCR certificate. And alternatively, if that could be the minimum criteria for being able to move around, rather than just doing a blanket travel cessation. So that's where I believe that maybe a bit more consideration could have been taken, saying that we do appreciate the president that within the month itself, he reopened up everything again. But we just request and we urge and we request that whenever in such decisions, because in the event if such decisions have to be taken, let tourism be given a focus also in terms of what are the implications on tourism, and because as tourism players, we are very stringent. As hotels, we are very stringent when it comes to maintaining the health and safety protocols. We do not play around. In fact, hotels are one of the safest places to be in, because the amount of sanitization that we have, the amount of the way we try and social distance, and the kind of measures we put into place to ensure that people are being kept safe, in terms of our room sanitization and everything. So we hope that such a scenario doesn't come in again. We pray to Almighty God that that this COVID eventually now gets out from our lives, and be able to control it, and be able to make sure that it is all the vaccinations have been given, and that people are able to get back to their normal lives, because a lot of livelihoods are being affected. But in the event, we feel that let tourism, whenever a view has to be taken, it has to be bird's eye view plus the tourism view.
Right.
How would it affect tourism? And I believe that should solve in a lot of problems, because if tourism is closed today, every other industry would get affected for sure.
Yeah,
it's as simple as that. And if tourism is as long as tourism is operational, every other industry would remain operational.
Right. Thank you, Hasnain. And if I were to ask you, how is the Pride In group different from the others? What would you have to say?
Bansi, there are three things that differentiate us. All right. One is all our companies within the Pride group, whether you talk about Pride Fuels, Cake City, Pride In Hotels and Resorts, whether you talk about Pride Drive, our car rental company, Glory Safaris, all our companies, we are excessively observed. We are excessively obsessed with service, experience, and variety. This is what we know as our OSAVE policy. Obsessively, we are obsessed with service, experience, and variety. How do we ensure that every guest that we host within our hotels, how do we ensure that we give them service? We are obsessed in terms of an obsessive service, making sure that they are always taken care of. How do you give them the experience that they need? Because when you come to a hotel, You are coming in for a unique experience. We cannot give you the same experience as you get at home. And likewise, in terms of variety, how do we ensure that we give you the right variety of things to do? Your kids need to have variety of games to play. You need to have a variety of things to do within the hotel, whether it is in terms of spa, whether it is in terms of beach, whether in terms, whatever it is, So, and that way, because we are a team that is so obsessed with service, experience, and variety, we strive to deliver exceptional product at an outstanding value, which is what differentiates us from all of our, as Pride Group. Number two is we have a slogan within the group: we make serious business fun. Now, what I mean by saying that is, if all our people are spending majority of their time, they are living a miserable life. They're living a miserable life. So we make sure that we are making serious business fun, and we make sure that our entire team is enjoying whilst they are working. So we train hard, we work hard, we play hard, and we empower well also, making sure that our people have the authority and the rights to make decisions when they are talking to you. We have cut out bureaucracies within our organizations. Mansi, do you like maths?
I used to at one
Mansi?
point.
Can I ask you a maths question? Okay, let me give you a maths formula let me give you a maths formula that I keenly work with on a daily basis. Okay, maybe you will start loving maths after telling you my maths formula. My maths formula is simple. Is happy staff is equal to happy customers. Happy customers is equal to happy business. Happy business is equal to happy profits. Happy profits is happy everyone.
Right.
So
it's simple maths.
You don't have to use your fingers to play any
You know,
calculations.
I was ready with my pen.
That is what differentiates us in terms of our companies.
That's a beautiful thought, you know. I mean, and I understand the fact that, you know, you guys you take decisions collectively. It's not just a matter of having the management take decisions and you follow it. You want everyone's input, and it matters equally. So I think that's
yes.
a very good thing. That's some of the things that I think bosses should learn, that every opinion should be taken into consideration. So I'm very impressed with that, Hasnain.
And once I've told you that, remember, we are still yet learning. You know, I'm not saying that we are 100% perfect in everything that we do.
Right.
We are still, as we move on, we still try and learn. We still try and understand how do we do things better. How do we, you know, get things. So yes, it's a learning curve, and every day is a new learning experience.
Exactly. Thank you, Hasnain. And now, before we say a goodbye, any last message that you would like to tell our listeners, our viewers? What could be your motto in life that maybe people could learn from you? Anything, just the final message before we say goodbye.
I would say there's one thing that I would say is, and I would tell to all the listeners, is that follow your passion in whatever you do, no matter what. Because when you do what you're passionate about, work becomes like a holiday. All right. And since you enjoy what you're doing and are having fun, you will do whatever it takes.
Right.
Understand? You'll do whatever it takes to deliver excellence. It's simple. When you follow a passion, your working becomes like a holiday. Now, because it's like a holiday, you will go to any extent and you'll do whatever it takes to deliver excellence. When you deliver excellence, success and money will chase you, will hug you, will kiss you, will do whatever you want it with you. Right. And that's why I see a lot of times people, you know, and people complain that they don't like where they work or they don't like what they do. And that's where I would give them my personal experience and my personal tip. Not that my personal tip is that, you know, keep on looking for something that you are extremely passionate about. Don't just work for the sake of working. Work because you are passionate about something. And because if you're going to spend your majority of your life working, why work at a place where you don't enjoy? All right, it's simple as that. So that is my more like a message to all the listeners, and to all the listeners and viewers, and if they follow on that, their life automatically becomes enjoyable.
Perfect. Hasnain, thank you so much. I think I don't know. Personally, I've learned a lot that this is what hospitality industry is all about. It's a lot of hard work. It's not just about the nice bed and the nice view of the beach or anything. A lot goes in there. And hats off to all of you who are working so hard to ensure that guests are safe when they come in to your premises. Thank you, Hasnain, for your time. It's a pleasure. It was a
Just one
pleasure to
last
have you.
message, Bansi.
Tell
Just
us.
one last message. I just want to say I appreciate all our guests and clients, and to all the viewers. They've been really supporting us in every possible manner, whether
Right.
it be on Cake City, whether it's be on Pride In. And in fact, the moment when the last year's lockdown happened, after that, when things opened up again, we got support very quickly from all the guests, from everyone, from all our clients, and it is because of their support that we are looking at that we are where we are today, and we still have an aggressive vision ahead of us. We are looking at putting up a hotel in every major county within Kenya. To be precise, we're
Perfect.
looking at another 10 hotels over the next couple of years. We believe in the
Wow.
hospitality industry. We believe we believe in Kenya, in the country. We believe in the administration, and we believe that our investments cannot go anywhere but Kenya. So this is what we did, and we look forward to support from everyone at all times.
Everyone. Exactly. And that's why I called you the king of hospitality. It was not just like that. I knew what I was saying.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Hasnain, for your time. And it was a
You're most
pleasure to
welcome.
have you on Beanbag Banter. Thank you so much.
You're most welcome. Thank you. Have a wonderful day.
You too, Hasnain. Thank you, and we shall speak to you soon.
Bye.
Bye. Well, that brings us to the end of our episode today. It was all about the pandemic and how this pandemic has affected the hospitality industry. I would love to know from you, my dear listeners, what did you think of this episode? Please feel free to get in touch with me and share your thoughts. You can find me on Insta. My ID is Beanbag Banter. You can find me on Facebook. My ID is Bansi Bhatt. Or you can simply just send me an email. Drop me a line. My email address is beanbagbanter@gmail.com. I'd love to know your thoughts and I'd love to read your comments as well. Feel free to get in touch with me anytime. And if you have not yet subscribed to my YouTube channel, again I suggest you do that right away. Jaldi, jaldi. Beanbag Banter is the name of my YouTube channel. Well then, thank you for listening to Beanbag Banter with Bansi Bhatt. It is always a pleasure to have you all on board. Love you all.